What's the most fucked up thing you did in a sleepover? In the mid-late 90s, my brother got really into the anarchist's cookbook and learned how to tap into neighbors' landlines from a box on the pole using a touch-tone phone and some connectors from Radio Shack. We'd have friends sleep over, we are close in age, and we'd sneak out and he'd hook a phone up so we could call phone sex lines from outside a neighbor's house in the bushes. I still wonder if they disputed the charges or if the wife just thought the husband was calling 1-900-BIG-TITS at 2 a.m. Got a bloody nose. It was dark and I didn't know the house, so I stuck near the walls and went down the hallway and found the bathroom. Got the bleeding to stop, cleaned up, went back to sleep. In the morning, the mom came in frantic making sure everyone was alive after she saw smeared bloody handprints all the way down the hallway. Tried to drink straight from a bottle of Jim Beam, instantly threw up all over my friend's table. We were all like 9 or 10-year-old girls and everyone else had fallen asleep except for me, so I decided I would play a prank on them. I got up and shook a good amount of black pepper into my hand and went to several of the girls and held it under their noses. What I was thinking would happen was they would wake up sneezing and be like, hey. That was silly. But instead they ended up waking up crying because they inhaled pepper, and turns out black pepper being inhaled into a sensitive orifice can really fucking sting. The girls cried so hard that my parents woke up and I had to explain the whole innocent idea behind my scheme. I felt so bad. So my house never had junk food when I was little, and when I slept over my friend's house, I ate an entire Chips Ahoy container while everyone was asleep and then put the container under her little sister's bed, who then got blamed for it and in trouble. Walked home while everyone was asleep. Didn't tell my friend, didn't tell their parents, didn't tell my parents, just crawled out a window at my friend's house and crawled in a window at my own. Went to bed. Not a single person looked for me in the morning. So, I have a history of sleep-talking walking issues, and they're especially heightened when I'm stressed. I don't like being away from home, so sleepovers are a recipe for disaster for me. Lo and behold, I woke up one morning after my first sleepover to the horrifying news from my friend that I started sleepwalking, yelled karate chop over and over, and proceeded to ruthlessly swing my arms into my friend's stomach, effectively waking her up out of dead sleep. We were 8, this was the first time I slept over her house, and I had never told her about my sleepwalking problems. She still makes fun of me about it to this day. My friend put mayo on his scrambled eggs at breakfast. I was so disgusted I told him I couldn't go to his house ever again. We used to do this thing called porch swapping. This is where we'd take the furniture off one porch, I'm talking the entire set. We'd then haul it down a few houses and set it up on a different porch. We would take clothes from one line and put them mixed in on another line. I don't know why. Was at a sleepover, my buddy slept on his couch, I slept on his beanbag chair with a blanket. After hours of playing 007 GoldenEye. I get up and go use their restroom, except I didn't. I only dreamed I did, and I pissed all over myself at like 4 a.m. I hid the blanket in their jacket closet, it was summertime, and threw the beanbag chair and my pissy underpants in their outdoors dumpster. They lived on a ranch. I was 14 at the time. Lol. I snuck out of my good friend's house while she was sleeping. Met up with some friends who were looking for someone to TP, we TP'd my friend's house, and then I snuck back in and went to bed. In the morning I had to act surprised while helping her clean it up. I still feel bad. Slept over at a guy's house for the first time, and I woke up in the middle of the night struggling to breathe due to an asthma attack. I went to use my inhaler, and it was empty, and I was too anxious to wake him up and be a burden, so I kind of just lay down on the floor in the fetal position trying to breathe properly and not cry. He woke up and saw me there and was just like, what the fuck, dude? I explained, and it turned out his mum was also an asthmatic and had lots of inhalers, so they let me have one. Looking back on it now, I cannot believe I basically chose death over inconveniencing someone. Oh, anxiety. When I was in middle school, I stayed over at a friend's house Friday night playing video games until the sun started coming up Saturday morning. I was so tired I thought I was dreaming, but in fact I was sleep running through the neighborhood, knocking on everyone's doors and screaming that someone was chasing me. Got to house and a guy shook me because he knew something was wrong, and I snapped out of it. He walked me back to my friend's house, which was a few blocks away. My feet were cold, wet and bloody from running through bushes and wet grass through everyone's lawns. Edit TLDR, sleepwalking to the extreme, ran 3 blocks down the street at like 5:30 a.m. because I thought someone was chasing me and was shook awake and escorted back to my friend's house. It was my younger sister's first sleepover. My mom had made a ton of sugar cookies for my sister and her friends to decorate as an activity. I ate all the extra cookies. Later in the night I started to feel really sick and headed towards my parents' room. As soon as I got into the living room I threw up all over everyone. My sister never wanted to have a slumber party again. I was like 4 and had to shit but was really scared of the dark hallway that led to the washroom. So I grabbed a nearby tissue, shat in it, then hid it behind my friend's couch. Their house began smelling for weeks and they didn't know why. They ended up throwing away their couch and found the hidden shit behind it. I later confessed and my friend and I still laugh about it.